The victim's family is questioning how authorities are ruling out suspects. We're going to bring in now Steve Rogers, a retired New Jersey police detective, lieutenant, and former member of the FBI National Joint Terrorism Task Force. So, Steve, explain why they're ruling out suspects, and also what kind of evidence and information gathering might investigators be conducting that they're not making public?
Well, to begin with, Arthel, I'm sure the police are doing the best they could. And as the father so eloquently articulated, he's supporting the police. But I will say this, that he's right. The parents are right. Look, I've been a police officer 38 years, and when they started releasing names of people who are cleared, I got a little concerned about that. The police seem to be, and in fact, I did read a report regarding that. They're trying to control the narrative on social media, concerned about people who are assuming who's guilty, who's not, etc. That is not the job of the police. The job of the police is to focus on the investigation like a laser beam. Arthella, people are going to believe what they want to believe. You can't control these narratives on these days. So the parents are right. Now, with regard to the evidence, they're certainly doing a lot of work, forensic evidence, criminal profiling. That's what they need to focus on. And then feed the people, especially the parents, feed them what they need to know without compromising the investigation. Now, look, I've heard on the news media statements from coroners, politicians, police officials, and on and on and on. They need one spokesperson. They got to get all their information together, because the key is confidence in the police.
Sure. And that's why we have you here, Steve, because you have done these types, maybe not exactly this type of investigation, but you've done investigations. So that's what I'm trying to find out. Two things. Again, we understand that you say that they should speak to the family. There's so much they can tell the family no more because they don't want to compromise the investigation. Is there something that they could have, information that they could have, evidence or eyewitnesses or something, some sort of interview that could help them find the suspect, find the killer? And then also, while you're at it, I did read, and you can speak to this as well for me, that part of the reason why they are releasing suspects and because of social media and threats to people. And so that's where we are now. So that does change. You're right. It's not the job of the police, but that's where we live now in this new society where people are threatened and many people act on threats that are posted on social media.
Well, you're absolutely right, but it goes back to my point is, look at how many people are going to assume who said this, who did that. It's just uncontrollable. So the police need to just focus, not be distracted, but be focused on this investigation. Now, they could certainly sit down with the parents and give them everything that they have, and I support that, and I'm sure the parents will be very cooperative and not talk about that. But with regard to the evidence, it's clear to me, in fact, it's clear to me because they basically admitted it, that they have no solid evidence leading to no suspects. I would never release that. I mean, guess who's watching? The killer. They're giving the killer a lot of information that he or she does not need to know. So my experience has been, say enough that will certainly be credible, but at the same time, not compromise the investigation and build confidence, public confidence in the police. It's pretty easy to do. It's the way we did it in the old days.
Is it unusual that there's no murder weapon or suspect 3 weeks later?
Well, not unusual with this type of crime. I've spoken to some very well experienced homicide detectives, and they've told me, look, there have been many investigations that they've been on that there were no murder weapons. However, what I think is unusual and maybe a little bit more involved is what's unusual is no blood from the suspect in this type of case, especially when they believe there was a bit of a struggle. So you've got, they may have information and evidence that will lead them to a suspect, but at this point in time, they're not sharing that with us. That's fine, but don't go off on a tangent, releasing names of people who are cleared. How does that help the investigation?
Okay, do you have questions? Like, is there one question that's burning you right now? I've got to go, but if you can answer that, is there one question that you would like answered?
I want to know who made the 911 call. I want to know exactly who made that call. I want to know if they leaned over, looked at the body, and that's when they concluded it was unconscious. You're going to lean over and look at a body, you're going to see blood. That burning question is still in my mind.
Steve Rogers, thank you so much. And of course, we want those families to get some sort of relief here and answers to those gruesome murders of their children. Retired New Jersey Police Detective Lieutenant Steve Rogers, thank you so much. Eric?
You're welcome.
Arthel,